Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Phil, and today we're going to have a little look at Solid Rock by Dire Straits. So without further ado, come with me. Okay, so here we are with the Strat. Let's have a look at that intro part. So fairly straightforward in terms of chords. We work on an A chord, a bar chord just across the top four strings here, and then we're plucking very briefly the A, the D and the G strings. And then there's a stretch up to here. Now I have debated as I've been researching for this video whether MK plays something like this, which is certainly a little bit easier. But I think listening to it and looking at some of the videos that I've seen online, particularly the one where he plays with Clapton at Nebworth, there's a real kind of stretch that he does on a regular basis. He does it in a lot of his kind of more rocky kind of songs. There's a stretch up here, so it'll feel really uncomfortable if you're not used to it at first, but it's very well worth persevering. So we go like this. So it's a pull off, and that's why I'm not using my little finger, because pulling off with the little finger is really difficult. With the ring finger, you're actually getting a little bit of bend as well, which is what you need for the sound that he creates here. So then with the ring finger back up just on the D string, can you see I'm strengthening here that bar with my second finger? It's just something I kind of just do naturally. You can do it if you want to, you don't have to. So let me go through that whole thing again. Really slowly. Let me play it all through in close to real time so you've got some idea how it all goes together. And it's at that point that the whole band is in. And then it's kind of up for grabs really what you do there. There's a fair amount of that's a lovely one. A fair amount of that as well with that kind of. Let's just focus in on the picking hand on this one, because this is pretty fundamental to the sound that he gets on this and a lot of other of his more rocky kind of songs. I call it the Mark Knopfler frailing technique. I'll put a card in the corner that takes you to a whole video on this technique. But essentially, thumb is playing on 1 and 3. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and what's happening with the other strings is this. Let me do that again. So we play on the 1, then it's pluck the D and the G strings upwards, and then we hit those same strings with the nail of each of the fingers. And it stops them. You'll probably need, as I'm doing, as MK does, I'm not doing this just to kind of blindly copy what he does. I'm doing this as a kind of a natural thing to steady the hand. So I'm kind of hooking my little finger here underneath that top E string keeps the hand exactly where it needs to be, because striking down with the nails on those two strings, it means that the hand needs to be in a decently placed area to do that. So let me show you. If you're struggling with this, really slow it down and don't worry too much about the strike of those two fingers. Just place them gently. And then as you get that deeply ingrained in your muscle memory, you can then start trying to do that little strike down with the nails like this. Okay, so that's the intro. Let's have a look at the chords now for the verses. So we're starting on the 7th fret. Same kind of shape as we had down here for the A, but we're on the 7th fret, that makes a D. So we're playing. Okay, so that's a D, a G voicing, and a C voicing. Okay, to add a little bit of that Knopfler magic, we need to do a little bit more with that. Let me show you what I mean. So looking at my picking hand, we're still doing that frailing technique like this. Have a look at both of those together really slowly. Okay, so there's only 3 chords there, but to get that real quintessential Knopfler sound, you need that frailing technique. Okay, so let's move on to the transition between the verses and the chorus. So we've played. Play that through a few times, and then we go to a G. You'll find MK himself plays this shape a lot. So it's kind of that voicing of, in this case, G. It's a really good utility shape, that one. It's worth putting that into your repertoire. So that shape can be G, it can be F, it can be C, it can be B flat, it can be A, it can be D. So you will find he uses that a lot in his music, but in this case, we're going from the C to that G voicing, and then into Gonna Live on Solid Rock. So we're back to the A. And then he alternates between a B minor and an A. Okay, so sometimes I'm pulling off, sometimes I'm plucking on that one. I think at full sort of song speed, you're going to be more pulling off, because it's very hard to pluck that one at full speed. And then we go to a G, and I've seen him play this sort of voicing. That's a power chord really of G. So it's a G, I'm muting the A string, then I've got D and G open, And then I've got 3rd fret on the B and the E strings, like that. So we've gone from okay. You'll notice there that I actually left the B open, which you'll probably need to during the transition. And then I add in those 2 top strings. Probably really up to you entirely how you do that. You might want to put that top G in, well, you're going to have to put that top G in at all times unless you mute it. So, okay, so there's that transition. Solid rock. There's a number of ways you can do this. You could do a big strum. Like that. That's absolutely fine. You could do a quick arpeggio. So watch my picking hand. So it's just, there's that you can do. There's also a kind of a, you can use that sort of idea. So it looks like this. Okay. That's very Mark Knopfler. So you've got some choices there. Okay, so that's the verse and the chorus. Let's have a little look now at that transition into the solo. So this is the House of Cards. So only 2 chords, dead easy. Here we go. House of Cards. Never built for shock. You can blow it down. Any kind of weather. And he does that lovely thing where he's show you again. Okay, now for the next little section, he starts with the A. This is where he's singing take 2 solid rocks, 2 solid blocks, or the other way around, can't quite remember. That's that shape. There's that lovely voicing of G. And then he sort of does this kind of thing. So he'll either do it there, or if he can do it, oh, you can do it. So, from this voicing, you slide these 2 fingers. I think I prefer from here. I prefer it like that because you have to get to okay, let's just do that whole little section. Okay, straight into the solo. Right, let's unpack that. So we're starting on the 4th fret of the G string, a bend up. Okay, I've done that super slow. When you play it quickly, the use of that B open string really comes into its own. Let me show you. Just adds a really nice ring to it. And then we go into that final little bit of the solo. Quite a lot to unpack here. Let me just talk through that. So another what I call a 1-string upbend. Can be a bit of a stretch, but it's not too bad. Pull off. Another 1-string upbend. Now here, you're moving this index finger here. You need to roll it onto that G string. Quite difficult to do that, so as you practice positioning that index finger really so it's sort of nudging up against that G string already so that you can roll over onto it. Okay, let me show you. You could place that index finger over that string for the entirety of that little riff. Personally, I find that over time it's easier to do the roll. And that's really because that index finger is kind of moving around anyway as part of the little riff. So that's the reason I do it that way. Okay, so that's pretty much all the components of the song. There's a few things that are probably worth having a look at in the outro, which are really fun to play. So let's do that before we finish. Before we do that though, if you're getting something out of the video and enjoying it, then it'd be fantastic if you could give me a thumbs up and click the notification bell if you like the content so that you can get more into your inbox. And even better, if you haven't already subscribed, if you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. It just helps me grow the channel. So thanks. Let's get back to it. Okay, so for the first part of the outro, very, very simple. Very straightforward, really. Then we move on to. Again, worth just picking out the technique here. You'll have seen me or you've heard me go. Very MK. Let's just focus in on the picking hand. It's the same thing that I was talking about before. If you were doing this with a pick, it would be a down, up, down. Okay. But of course MK doesn't really use a pick, so the down is with the thumb, the up is with the index finger, and the down is with the thumb. But what it allows him to do is to sort of stop the string during that operation, which produces that lovely. Okay, so very well worth practicing. It's used in for pretty much all of MK's music. Okay, so for the next part of the outro, he does pretty much the same thing. Just fiddling around that sort of area. But then he comes up here and he does this. Okay, again, it's a relatively small part of the solo, but it's very well worth learning this technique because, again, it's used in a lot of his music. So we're doing the one string up bend, and he goes to the minor third. You could go to the major third if you'd prefer it. But the main part of this is that motif. So it's a pull off, pluck, pluck, okay, so you'll see there that I was lifting my second finger off the fingerboard. Okay, what that does, it stops that G string ringing out. But the downside is it's a bit harder to do. So depending on the speed at which you're playing and depending on your comfort level, your skill level, you might want to leave that string actually fretted. Just plant those two fingers there, and then the only finger that needs to do any work really is this one. So if you let that string ring too much, this will happen. So that's the downside. So what I do, let me concentrate on the picking hand. As the index finger comes up, my thumb is muting that G string. Either way, it's quite difficult to do, so find what's most comfortable for you, practice really slowly, and here's where I'm going to say again, I've said it in quite a lot of other videos, practice with a metronome. Don't expect to get really fast really quickly, because you just won't. So practice slowly. And then gradually build up, using that metronome, gradually build up that speed. Okay, so that's solid rock. Hope you got something out of the video that you can use in your playing. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.